Well, hello there everybody. How's it going? I hope you're doing amazingly. Valeska and Melanie here. It's so good to have you back in our channel. Today we're going to be discussing about the lexical approach method. Now, this method gained popularity back in 1993 when Michael Lewis proposed that language consists of grammaticalized lexis and not lexicalized grammar. This may sound a little tricky, right? So, what does this really mean? The lexical approach method is a way of teaching language based on the idea that it is made up of lexical units rather than grammatical structures. Lexis, which is vocabulary, is the basis of language. In this case, we are saying that language consists of lexical chunks. And now, what is a lexical chunk again? A lexical chunk is a group of words that are usually found together. This term may not sound familiar to you at first, but when you see phrases like good morning, nice to meet you, and how are you, those are counted as lexical chunks. This approach makes an emphasis on lexical chunks because they are the data in which learners start to perceive linguistic patterns. We store and reduce them in order to produce fluent, accurate, and meaningful language. Vocabulary is the vehicle needed to express ideas and convey meaning in the target language. That's why it's so important to get the capacity to understand and produce lexical efficiency. Now, moving forward, let's take a look at some teaching implications. Now, first of all, students must understand that words come together in text. Even when they may not have a fully clear idea of what a lexical chunk is, us teachers do. Therefore, it's necessary to explain how is it they are learning linguistic. Take a look at this chart. Those are examples of words that are usually found together. It's so important that we know them because classroom practice is fundamental. And of course it is with every approach, but early importance and development of receptive skills is what is achieved with this approach, especially when it comes to listening. Now, lexical competence is the main purpose of this approach, and it happens through the teacher's language uses and fluency. That's why it's crucial to take into consideration the type of lexis that we are using. Which lead us then to the teacher's role. Teacher's guidance is essential in order to recognize mistake, offer some feedback, and get them motivated. Even when you have to say the same thing 100 times, be always willing to help your students. So now that we know what the lexical approach is about and some of the teaching implications to work with it, let's take a look at further information Melanie has for us regarding this topic.
Let's take a look at some advantages. Students feel more encouraged with the learning material. It is helpful and motivating for students to have a step-by-step learning process. Teachers feel more confident with a clearly defined progressive course. Lexical phrases brings fluency in the second language acquisition. Now, what are the disadvantages? Do not learn proper grammar using this method. Language cannot be divided into different units in real life. It lacks full characterization of an approach. Lack of theory of learning. Let's watch some teaching tips. Emphasis is on successful communication, not grammatical mastery. Teach whole phrases, not individual sounds. Grammar exploration instead of grammar explanation. Intensive listening and reading in the target language. Comparison and translation. Chunk for chunk rather than word for word. Guessing the meaning of vocabulary items from context. Working with dictionaries and other reference tools. Let's take a look at some activities that can be applied in a class using Lexical Approach. Find someone who. This is a standard activity which has been adapted to focus on different lexical structures all involving the word get. In this case, it merely involves planting the lexical chunk into find someone who instruction. Songs. Songs are a rich source of lexical items, particularly commonly used semi-fixed expressions. When gapping song lyrics for use as a listening exercise, gap lyrics to get the students to focus on useful lexical chunks rather than individual words. Lexical chunk hot seat. The game uses two chairs, which are placed in front of the board and facing away from it. The teacher then writes a word on the board and each team gives their teammate in the hot seat clues so they can guess the word without saying the word itself. The odd one out. In this exercise, the students must find in a list of words which is the one that is not associated with the word in capital letters. So guys, if you like this video, give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications so every time we post a video you don't miss it, and follow us in our social media.